With all the new and scary developments in Ukraine and what is happening with Russia, with them, we and a lot of us actually are asking this question whether this is the beginning of the Malhama, the great battle that was prophesied in Hadith. Today, inshallah, I'll be answering to that question because this is something very, very important, and because we talk about the end of time, Dajjal, Yajuj, and Majuj in this channel a lot, so I decided to address this question directly so that inshallah we understand what is going on right now. So back in the early 2001, when Bush met Putin, and Putin, that was his first year, the very beginning of his term, he actually asked Bush about joining NATO. And of course, the Western countries, they wanted, especially NATO, they wanted to have a boogeyman. And so they decided that would be Russia. Not only that, that they decided it politically in terms of Russia's size, the military power, but also in their books, in the Western Christian books, in the Bible and the end time prophecy. And I have played these videos and made these videos in the past many times. And I showed you guys how the West, the Christians, the Protestant and the Catholic, they view Russia as the Gog, the Orthodox Christian in Russia. In other words, for them, the Gog and Magog, who is the ultimate enemy of Jesus, Isa alayhi salam, as they say, the Messiah will come in Israel, and that everybody will go there, and the great battle will take place according to their books. They believe that the coming of Jesus, the Messiah, will be stopped or be prevented by Gog and Magog, and Gog is the leader, which is Russia, according to them. Even though Russia is an Orthodox Christian country, nevertheless they label Russia as an enemy of Christianity itself. And they say the Magog, as I said, the Magogs are Poland, Iran, Turkey, and those countries. Not Poland, Iran, Turkey, and other countries in that region. So for them, Russia is the boogeyman, and Russia is is a nation that has to be stopped. Now we know, dear brothers and sisters, let's talk about the Malhama a little bit here, because this is an obvious thing for all of us to understand. Unless you understand this particular concept, you will not understand anything. So the obvious thing that we all understand from all of these things happening is that at the end of the day, the Russian military, the Russian Empire, will join the Western Empire. The book, the Bible, New Testament, they talk about Russia as an enemy, but in Islam, the Hadith talks about something completely different. The Hadith, according to Hadith, we know that Russia and the Western countries, there is nothing called this. There are two separate entities. These two entities, they are actually one. The reason for that is because the Hadith is said that summa tuqatiluna Rum. Rasul said, after you fight in Arabian Peninsula, then you will fight with the Roman. The Roman army, they are made up of many nations. They're mostly the Caucasian, the white people. Russia is a country that the people there are Caucasian. Western countries, they're also Caucasian. So they will form an army. فَلْيَسْتَمِعُونَ لِلْمَلْحَمَةِ Rasulullah said, then they will come to you as a whole, as an army, as in one unit, and then is the Malhamatul Kubra, the fierce battle, that the ultimate battle that we talk about, with the Mahdi himself in that army will take place. So everything that you see today, Russia, Ukraine, my point is this: everything you see, Russia, Ukraine fighting, these are all completely irrelevant, okay, in terms of end of time. So your question, whether this is the beginning of the end of time, the Malhama, the great battle, to me, yes, some way it is, because remember, something has to trigger a big event, and a big event doesn't happen from a nuclear or nuking a nation. It happens from skirmishes. It happens from small battles, small differences in opinion. So for the bigger battle, for Malhamatul Kubra to take place, I said in the past many times that there has to be WW3. Could this trigger Ukraine-Russia war? Can trigger WW3, World War III? possible but unlikely, very unlikely. The reason for that is because Western countries, they're way too powerful right now. They can impose sanctions, they can go other way around to stop Russia. That's my point. They do not have to confront Russia militarily, and this is why they are not going to war with Russia. Had they not have the power of sanctioning Russia, today we would have seen a very different world. U.S., European countries, they would have joined together and sent military to stop Russia, just like what happened with Germany in the Second World War. France, Britain, they coalesced together, and they said we need to stop Hitler, right? So that's when it would happen. Right now, the West is too powerful, and they're too wealthy, they're too rich to afford a war with Russia, because then everything that they have built, it will be at risk of complete annihilation by Russian nukes. So they do not want to do this. If Russia did not have nukes, then of course today the West would have thought about military option, and you would have heard this word, all options on the table, quote unquote. If Russia did not have nukes, but because they have, no, not all options are on the table, because for the West, Ukraine is a big deal. Okay, it is not a big deal just because of the country's location, strategic location, because it falls in Europe, but also because it's a matter of prestige. It's a matter of honor, it's a matter of dignity and respect. Russia is violating all of it. Right at their doorstep, Russian army is there, Ukraine. What we will see at the same time, this is a very, very interesting, important point, and this could be related with the end of time. Okay, are you ready for that? Okay, this is what I want to tell you. So once Russia goes to Ukraine, what is the outcome? Of course, Russia, all they want right now is to have a pro-Russian government in Kiev. They do not want to take control of Ukraine. They do not want to make Ukraine part of Russia now. Okay, right now they do not want it. Maybe in the future they will have a plan, a referendum, some sort, a sham referendum, and then voila, you wake up, Ukraine, Russia become one. But now they do not want that. Right now, their main priority is to have a pro-Russian government. Once Russia has, you ready, right? Okay, once Russia has that government in Kiev, in Ukraine, they will use Ukraine and Belarus to destabilize other European countries. With migration, with the immigrant coming, with all kind of, refugee crisis, you name it. All of these things, Russia will unleash, okay? As they say, breaking loose of hell, of all hell. Okay, I don't want to use the word hell because this is not something we should use as Muslims. You never use the word hell because that is ultimate punishment. We never compare hell or heaven or paradise with this dunya, never. But this is what they say, So Russia, once they have Ukraine and Belarus, and obviously Belarus is right now under their control. Once they have Ukraine, they can unleash or lose all hell on Europe, and slowly but surely they might want to eat up other territories, other countries. And the West right now, the sanctions they are imposing, Nord Stream 2 pipeline that gives 80% of energy from Russia to Europe, especially to Germany. This is the biggest and most impactful sanctions that the West can impose on Russia. Means everything they do after Nord Stream 2, Russia will not be affected as much. If Russia can get away with this sanction that the West is putting on them, then Russia will have no problem with other sanctions. That's my point. Because Nord Stream 2 is the important sanction of it all. And they did not expect it to come the way it came, because Germany, US, they agreed that they need to shut down the pipeline and stop Russian gas coming to Germany and other European countries. So this is my point. Remember, this is a very important point, last point. Once they have other European countries under their belt, Russia would definitely try their, or will eye towards other countries, and that would include, unfortunately, I believe personally this will happen, and Linda Thomas Greenfield. She is the U.S. ambassador to UN. Okay, she said the same thing as I said, and I believe this is what Russia will ultimately do. You ready? And that is that, dear brothers and sisters, Russia will invade part of Turkey, and that's how Turkey will fall to the Romans, and the Muslims will open this land as the prophecy was mentioned to us by Rasulullah, and this will happen. This is my understanding. This is how I look at the hadith, because without Russia and without Putin's craziness, Istanbul, Constantinople, how else can it fall, right? It might fall maybe after WW3, but in our time, the possibility or the way we can see it falling is through Russia, is through Putin. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.